Hi guys, welcome back. My name's Bethany. I'm the girl behind Well Loved Knits, and today I'm very excited because we are going to be going through 15 free knitting patterns that will be perfect for this fall. I recently went down the rabbit hole to get some fall inspiration. Usually at the beginning of every season, I like to do like a Pinterest look through and see like what kind of things am I feeling to make. And I usually make a roundup video of the things that I'm planning to make for every season. But this time I thought it would be a lot of fun to go on the hunt for some free knitting patterns, because I feel like we don't talk about free knitting patterns enough. And you guys, I found some really awesome patterns that I'm really just shocked that some of these are free. They look so professional and they're very stylish, and I think they're also a little trendy too. So if you're somebody who likes to hop on fall trends, then this could be a great video for you. But first, I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, which is me. I have been working on a project behind the scenes lately, just something that I have personally wanted to do for myself, and that is welllovedknits.com. I've only really been available on Etsy as far as my knitting patterns go, and then of course I'm active on Instagram and here on YouTube, but I also just wanted a little corner of the internet that is just for me and something that I can customize to myself and really create exciting content that I hope you guys will all love. So not only do I have a shop where you can see all of my latest patterns, but I also have a section that is going to be dedicated to all of the patterns that are free that I've been sharing here on YouTube as videos and trying to make those into written format so it's easier for you to follow. And then I also just want to share things in a blog style format. So I would really love if you guys go over there and just check it out. I am going to be giving a special discount to anybody who wants to shop on the website. The code is website20 for 20% off all the patterns that you see there. Yeah, so thank you so much to myself for sponsoring this video. Let's get into the free patterns. There are a lot of websites that actually offer free patterns that I feel like we, at least myself, don't take much advantage of. So I was looking around and I wanted to find the best of the best, and I think I did. So I have 15 patterns that I'm excited to share with you guys. So I will of course have a link to where you can find all of these free patterns, and we'll just go through them one by one. I didn't really categorize them all that much. There's a mix between beginner friendly and probably a more advanced style pattern. I don't think that any of them are necessarily hard. I just think that some will obviously take more time than others, which could be better suited for advanced knitters versus beginner knitters. So let's just jump right into it. So the first one is the bubble stitch cardigan, which is available on lovecrafts.com. This one I think is perfect for beginners. I really love the texture. The bubble stitch is something that people have been really into over on Instagram. I definitely see it in a lot of patterns lately from indie designers. And I think this one, it is such a great like classic cardigan fit, but then it has that extra fun texture where, yeah, you can just get creative with colors. I really love the color that they have on this sample, the red and light pink. I think the combination of the two has been really popular lately. So I really love seeing that. And I think the best thing, at least in my opinion, and some of the other patterns have this as well, you can go and get exactly what you need. They already have an option where you can just click for your size and get exactly the materials that were used in the pattern, which I think is really cool. So I think that's definitely really helpful for a beginner knitter. So if you're interested, I think this would work well for beginners because it's on those chunkier needles. And maybe if you're just a little adventurous and want to try out color work or a new stitch, I think this one is really great for you. The next two are actually from the same designer, and I'm super impressed by this one. So it's the Autumn League Pullover by Two of Wands, who is very active on Instagram. She's a really great designer. I thought that she was mainly for crochet, and I think that she has a lot of great crochet patterns as well, but turns out she also does knitting patterns, and this free pullover is really cute. So the description here says like the style of the sweater is supposed to give like the feeling of Friday Night Football, Friday Night Lights kind of thing. And I think it really does. It's kind of like a sporty, classic crew neck top. I really love that center detail at the very front center. It has like those two lines, which I think are created with increases and decreases. And it's just like a subtle little design element that I think really makes the garment special and unique. So I think this would be such a staple piece. And I think it would be pretty easy to do because it is a raglan knit sweater. So you'd have to be comfortable with knitting in the round, but honestly, it's not that hard, you guys. We can do it, right? So the next one by Two of Wands is the Bramble Jumper, which this one really caught my eye because I have just been so into texture for this fall. I really want to experiment a little bit more with stitches and like what kind of stitches could bring that really great texture while still using solid colors, because I really love solid colors. I'm not really somebody who has been knitting a lot with color work, although I have tried to branch out a little bit in that. So the texture would add something interesting to knit, as well as having something that's a little bit more unique in your wardrobe. This Bramble Jumper, I can't figure out what stitch this is. I'm looking, it kind of looks like a smaller version of seersucker stitch, but it's knit on 7 and 8 millimeter needles. So I still think it's quite chunky, which could again be good for a beginner. But the only thing that I will say about the Two of Wands instructions, it does, at least for me, I'm not used to reading instructions like that. The way it's formatted, it looks a little, it's kind of difficult. It's a lot of abbreviations. She does make an effort to define the abbreviations. However, it's still a little challenging, just in my own opinion. But this is a nice drop shoulder crew neck top that I think could be a great layering piece. I think you'd have to seam it all together, but definitely worth it. Okay, the next sweater that I found is the Sandbar Pullover by Ray Blackledge. It's actually in the description, it was talking about it being a summer sweater, but personally, I would never wear this sweater in the summer. I just feel like it looks way too hot, although it's recommended to knit with cotton. So if you just switched it out for wool, it would be a very nice and warm fall sweater. So I really love it because it has a new stitch, which would be really great, but with a classic shape. This is a really oversized fit, so I think it reminds me of a lot of sweaters that I see with some fast fashion brands. So you could just make that at home instead of purchasing from them, which I think is really awesome. The stitch that's used, I think, is mock fisherman's rib stitch, which is something that I've done swatches for, and I want to knit a piece with mock fisherman's rib, but I haven't gotten to it yet. So this would be a really good option. And I just, again, really love that oversized fit. I really love the color also. I really think that it would look pretty knit up in wool for fall, for sure. For you guys who have really loved the V-neck sweater that I've been working on in the Noro sock yarn, I did find a V-neck sweater, a free pattern that you could potentially look at, because I'm drafting that one from scratch, kind of just freestyling. But this one here is by Barrico Yarn, and it's a really interesting knit. It looks like it's knit from the bottom up, and it has a high-low effect. So at the front, it's a little bit shorter than the back, which is kind of nice because then you won't have to like adjust your sweater all the time, because sometimes, you know, it gets a little bit higher in the back if you don't do like short rows or anything like that. But yeah, this one's just a classic V-neck sweater, although I see like the neckline is kind of interesting. It's got an interesting swoop to it, and I like how high up the V-neck is, but it's got a thick rib, which is just really cool. And I haven't seen a design like that before, so I think it's really cute. I would definitely recommend this one, and I could see it looking so cute. I'm not crazy about the green that they have, but like in a light gray, I could really see that being just a staple piece that you could wear all the time, throughout winter even. I mean, all of these sweaters, great for both fall and winter. But yeah, I could really see this one. This just looks like a perfect staple V-neck sweater to me. So another really classic shape and another V-neck would be this V-neck cardigan by Sandbar Knits, like the knitting company Sandbar. Well, anyway, they have some really cute ones because I did find a couple on their website that I really liked. And this cardigan is also one that I think, again, it's a classic shape. You would get so much wear out of this. The thing that drew me to this particular pattern was obviously the yarn. It's such a statement. And I feel like right now, the yarn that's got like a lot of different colors and textures and yeah, like just that mixed, it's almost like the knitting machine like blew up a little bit and you have all this color. That is really in right now. People are really interested in having a sweater that looks like that, with that technique, with that color work. So that could be a really cool option to knit with this yarn. So then you could use the yarn that's recommended for the pattern, which always makes life a little bit easier, doesn't it? But yeah, the shape in general though, again, for me, just because I like solid colors, I'm thinking that this would be really great as like a just classic gray or a beige like this, this sweater right here. Yeah, it would just pair with almost anything in your wardrobe and it would just be something you would get a lot of use out of. So I love that. And I also really love the buttons that they use. I know that that's not something that comes with the pattern, but I thought it was a really cute embellishment. Okay, another cardigan from Sandbar is this one. And this is the one where I just can't believe it's free. I really can't. It's so beautiful. It looks like you would get it from Everlane, J. Crew, Madewell. Like this is a sweater that I feel like would be sold at one of those stores. And you could make it for yourself. And like, how cool is that? That would be so great. I think it's beautiful. It's got a timeless shape. It's really nice because it has like it's a raglan knit cardigan, it looks like, because it has like those really thick raglan stitches along the sides between the sleeves and the body. And I think it looks so beautiful, especially if I were to knit this, I would knit it in the exact color too. I just think it is such a classic piece. I really do. And I love just her whole outfit. But this one would take a little while. I think this is definitely an intermediate knit for sure. But I just really love everything about it. I did find a couple of accessories that I thought were really nice for free patterns, because typically when you find free patterns, they're in accessories. So I was really, really trying to find a lot of clothing items. But I did add a couple of accessories to the list, and one of them is this men's scarf. I'm calling it the men's scarf. I think it's called Eric's scarf on lovecrafts.com. This one is really nice, and the reason I put it on the list is because this would be an opportunity to learn more stitches and to play with texture again, because I really love this basket weave effect that they've got going on. And then the ribbing on both ends of this scarf, I think it adds like a really nice finished look. So I would definitely want to try this basket weave. This is a lot of fun, and I think it was designed for men in mind, but I think if I made this for my significant other, which I probably wouldn't because I'm a selfish knitter, but if I were going to do it, I'd probably end up being the one wearing it. So I would knit it for me and pretend that, I knit it for him. Yeah, I'm a selfish knitter, guys. I am not afraid to admit that either. More texture. You can see that I'm really into texture because the next one is another accessory. It's a blanket, and it's a weave knit blanket, and it looks like in the description, it says that this is this pattern uses simple slip stitches to create that weaved effect, which I think is such a cool way of creating that texture. Like, with this, so I would knit it with something different that doesn't look like it would shed so much. But I think in just a really neutral color, this would be a great like Christmas gift or a housewarming gift for somebody who's moving into a new apartment, new home. That would be amazing, an amazing gift to give, and I know people would love to receive it. But yeah, again, the texture is something that I'm really crazy about, and the tassels look so nice. Honestly, it looks like something from Pottery Barn. This one that I have, this is where we're getting to probably advanced territory, just simply because of how long it would take. This simple raglan sweater by Pearl Soho is something that I've actually had on my list for a really long time. Ever since I started knitting again a couple of years ago, this sweater was definitely on my list. I was looking at it, and that actually says something. This piece, even though I know it would take a long time because it's knit with really small needles and a really dainty, lightweight yarn, it would stand the test of time. Like, I would keep this in my closet just because I've been wanting to knit it for so long. So that's also, it would be worth the effort, right? But I think this one is really cute because I really love that rolled hem at the top and the sleeves and the bottom. Like, all of the edges have that nice like rolled effect, which I think is really cute. And I also really love the thick raglan stitches. Another Pearl Soho pattern, which they really love, like really petite knit sweaters. Not petite knit, but they love small knit sweaters because that seems like all of their free patterns are really, like the clothing items are really small. So the reason I really like this cardigan is because it's just so clever that they moved the garter stitch from horizontal, traditionally like the bumps, to vertical. So then you have like those vertical garter stitch, garter stitch stripes, which I think looks really nice. It's a different way of taking advantage of that texture and using that. So it looks like the sleeves are traditional horizontal, but then the body is vertical, and I really like that. It just looks really chic to me. Something that's really, effortless, but looks really, really nice. So definitely really like it. But again, for me, very small needles, so knit at your own risk. I just know with small needles, it would probably take me until autumn 2022 to actually finish it. So I'll pass. Ooh, here's another one from Sandbar. It's a ribbed knit blanket, although I don't know why they call it that, because it looks like it's stockinette stitch with slip stitches in between. Not to give the whole pattern away, but anyway, it's free, so it doesn't really matter. But it looks like it looks like garter stitch, and then they slip one stitch throughout to create that line of just like knit stitches all the way. Yeah, those definitely look like slip stitches. I really love this one. I could see this in a magazine, again, probably Pottery Barn, Crate and Barrel. I haven't been to either one of those places in a really long time, so I'm guessing here. But I could just really see that to add a little bit of texture on top of a bed. Again, it could be a really nice housewarming gift or just a gift for yourself. But yeah, this one would be much faster to knit because it looks like it's super chunky wool and knit on really thick needles. So you could definitely, honestly, I think we should all cast on a blanket this season because I knit one last season and it was so nice because the blanket kept me warm the whole time, which was actually amazing. So I would really recommend knitting blankets, especially ones that are thick and chunky like this, because you're getting things done really quickly and super warm. So the Let's Do This sweater by Wool and the Gang is another free pattern that you can use to knit with their chunky, crazy sexy wool. So another big, thick knit sweater. This one has like a high neckline, like a really thick turtleneck, which would be super warm. Maybe more winter, but you could get it done in fall and have it on those really cold nights, which would be really great. But I like this one too because it's got like that classic drop shoulder. I love working with, 15 millimeter needles, so it's honestly perfect for beginners. So I got really inspired by this turtleneck as well because of the yarn. So it's kind of very similar to the V-neck cardigan that I had mentioned earlier. This one is a turtleneck. And it looks like it looks like it's knit in stockinette, but they use the they use the purl side of the stockinette to have as the right side, which is something that I really love and I feel like we don't use enough on sweater designs. So I think it's really cool, especially with this yarn too, because then you can really see the bumps of the garter stitch with all the different colors that are there. I could really see this top with a really cute skirt, some tights, and some high boots for fall. I think that would be really cute, and I would definitely recommend knitting in this yarn because this yarn looks like so much fun. Just like my Noro sock yarn, it just looks like it would be kind of just like a mystery yarn. You don't know what you're gonna get next kind of thing. And yeah, I really like that. I think it's really nice. The drop shoulder is very flattering again, and it looks like the sleeves do a little tapered effect, which is a nice touch. And for the last pattern that I found is another Pearl Soho pattern, but not petite. It is not as tiny knit, so that's really great. This one is another accessory. It's actually a brioche scarf that's knit in their chunkier wool. And the reason that I picked this one is, again, with the accessories, I think that they're really quick knits to do and a really good opportunity to learn new stitches. And brioche, I have never successfully finished a project with brioche, and it's one of those things that just seems really intimidating. So I feel like starting with a scarf, especially a chunky scarf, would be the perfect opportunity to get your skills with brioche. I also really love the two-tone effect that you can do with brioche knitting. And I think that would just be a lot of fun to knit. Some color work, a new stitch, it would really have a nice impact. And because it's a really chunky yarn that you're working with, it would be super warm. So it would be perfect for the changing seasons. Right, so thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed learning about some new free knitting patterns. Because again, like I said, I don't think we talk about free knitting patterns enough, and there are so many of them out there. This was a lot of fun to do some research on and see which ones I could curate and find that I consider to be some of the really best finds out there with free knitting patterns these days. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found something new that you didn't already know about, and maybe you'll check out these websites. Definitely do. Shout out to everybody who made these knitting patterns. I will do my best to give credit where credit is due in the links below. I hope you guys try some of these patterns because I think they're really worth it, especially that one cardigan by Sardar. Like, I really love it. It's beautiful. Don't forget to check out my website, welloveKnits.com, just to see what it's all about, and I am excited to bring you guys more content over there in the future too. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.